Crushers podcast. Today, we're going to discuss the path to success is not what you think it is, what you have in your head. Because, especially if this is your first time striving for success, like mindfully or whatever, if you decide that you want to be successful in whatever that you're doing, and the road there isn't going to be what you think it is because you haven't done it yet, so you don't know what it's going to look like. And we kind of have an idea of what the end goals are. You know, obviously you have to have something that you're striving towards, and you're kind of mapping out a road to that, because that's kind of what you do. You got to have like a plan, and you make the plan. But the truth is, for those who have tried to do things and been successful at certain things, even if it's on a small scale, you've noticed that it's not always the path that you saw yourself going down. Sometimes the way there's changes, there's roadblocks, stuff you have to go around, stuff you got to go through, and you kind of end up in like a different place than you thought you were going to. And not to make it any bad or better or worse than you thought it was going to be, but it's just different sometimes. Sometimes you end up doing things slightly different. Sometimes your goals even change. And it's kind of interesting. It's kind of it's just like the path of life, you know. It's just always changing, and you kind of have an idea, I feel like, in your head of, oh yeah, like, you know, I see myself when I'm 40, I'm going to have, you know, my kids are going to be almost grown up by then and graduating high school, and I'm going to be the CEO of this company and blah, 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 or whatever it is. And then it's like, you're 38 and you're like, oh, no, that's not what happened at all. It's kind of weird, but I'm not sad about it. I'm actually happy. I'm glad that it didn't go that way, but it's just interesting how.
So it's not just seeing the different challenges and stuff that come and go on that journey. It's also, you can end up in a completely different location than where you were planning on going in the first place.
Yeah, because sometimes, like, the goal that you were striving for along the way, throughout the path, as you learn more about yourself and about that goal, you learn that you don't really want that. You want something else, or,
yeah,
you know.
There's that, and having the strength to adapt and learning that your original goal may not be all that you thought it was anyways.
Yeah. And
along the way you learn some new things, and so that might vary things a little bit, or you find something else that, you know, is easier or makes more money or something like that, and then so you shift again. And I guess kind of use myself as an example. I started doing the fab thing, and it was all about mini trucks because I'm a mini trucker, and so, you know, that's what I know. So I kind of figured, you know, that's what my fab business is going to be, is mini trucker stuff, suspension and stuff like that. And then as I'm doing it, not to put down my, my fellow mini truckers, but mini truckers are cheap. I know I've always been cheap because basically I think you get a truck and you don't really want a truck, but you got it, and so you got to, you know, you're into custom stuff, so you do what you can do, and voila, you got mini trucker stuff. But we never really have a whole lot of money, so we're kind of like, you know, pinching pennies here and there. And as far as somebody doing the work, that's not the greatest way to go. But a lot of other people on Instagram has found my stuff, and so I've been working on the VIP scene a lot lately. The luxury Lexuses and stuff like that. And that's stuff that I never imagined myself doing.
Yeah, and them boys got money.
Exactly. So, no, the ones that I've met so far certainly do. And so that's where I got my SEMA car. And yeah, it was cool. But the point is that's not something I ever imagined myself doing. But to be like a hard ass and be like, no, you know what? My love is this, whatever it is, and I'm going to stick to this. And it's like, dude, maybe the money that you want to make is not there, so you have to kind of adjust a little
and
bit
adapt.
and go with the flow, I guess.
Yeah.
Listen to the universe, see what it's trying to tell you, and maybe it's trying to lead you in a different direction.
Yeah, going with the flow sometimes is you just got to kind of like stop fighting the current so much and just kind of see where it takes you, see what happens when you work along with it instead of trying to fight every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about before too, how sometimes when you're trying to be good at something, like you like are really focused on something, you end up being good at like something else that like you weren't really like trying that hard to be good at.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, unless you like really hate the thing that you're like naturally good at or whatever,
right.
It's like, see where that takes you, like just going with the flow of something and like following your talents and like kind of like tracing that to see where it goes. Like you could end up with like true greatness, you know what I mean? Like what if LeBron James like realized that he was really good at basketball, but he liked playing pool better and just like never was like I'm like really good at basketball and it's fun, I do enjoy it, but I don't think like I just really want to play pool. And like he was like never good at pool, it's like he could have like just been like a normal person that played pool, but he didn't. He went and played basketball and he's achieved greatness. And it's like it's always kind of interesting like where life leads you.
So that's a good point. Do something that you're naturally good at, because I imagine that would help quite a bit.
Yeah. But I mean, also, that's not to say that like you shouldn't do stuff that you're not good at. I think that almost it's like better for you as a person to do stuff that you're not good at.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to certain areas, I think definitely like going with the flow and seeing where your talents lie. And I know like Gary Vee's all about like find what you're good at and quadruple down on that.
Mm-hmm.
Go all in on your talents. And he does it like almost like to an extreme where it's like don't even explore like stuff that you're not good at, just go. But like he's kind of like a success like monster, he's like he's good at seeking out the formula for being the most successful version of yourself like to the max. And like he's just like is like psychotic with it, like in a good way. I mean, he seems like he's happy doing what he's doing, but it's like there's not that many people that are that extreme that are willing to go to the lengths that he is, like to do what he does, because you would go crazy. I know I would. Like I don't want that kind of like dedication to the craft, I think it's interesting, but like there's like so many more other like aspects to my life that I enjoy putting energy into, where like being successful isn't just like the main thing. But
I think that's his thing though, is it's the whole tripling down on stuff. It's like you can still have the work-life balance that we've talked about before, but the one thing you need to put your all into, or at least your most. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I heard him talking to people once, and it's just crazy how his mind works. But he's like, any business can be successful. He's like, try me, and like, you want to be a collector of spoons or something like that, and then he would just go off, and it's like I can't even repeat what he would say. It's just so far out there, but it's like, wow, how does your mind work? I can see how that could actually be a beneficial, lucrative business. But
yeah, he's a powerhouse. He's done it so many times, and that's just like the way that he thinks. It's how he is. It's in his fucking DNA to formulate success in the form of selling things and building a business where it's like it's easy for him. He sees something and it's like comes at what would be like a problem for somebody, and it's just like a little thing that he just morphs. It's like a clay ball, and he just takes it and morphs it into like a business.
Right.
Like whatever. It's like selling
Must be
dog
nice.
shit.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
oh, okay, yeah, I'll figure out how to sell dog shit. Like, all right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna, do this, and we're gonna sell it as fertilizer. We're gonna break it down. It's not gonna look like dog shit anymore. It's gonna smell nice, but it's still gonna have the fertilizing properties. And
Good
like,
smelling
yeah, dude.
fertilizer. That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's like that. That takes so much energy. Like, I think to be at that level, I think that he like with what he talks about. I don't personally know him, but he seems like super happy, like I said, and like he seems like he spends quality time like with his family when he's around them.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't think that he has time for much else. He said he does, like he'll go on like a vacation with his family like now and then, but like he's not like hanging out on the weekends like going fishing like he would go insane. Like he's doing stuff like a little like free time for him is like he goes around to yard sales and he's still like buying and selling shit. He's like still doing what he does. Yeah. It's just like in a different scene. But yeah, I think that like the main thing of what we're talking about, coming back to it, is just like don't like judge yourself for the path that you're on if you feel like it's different than what you thought it ought to be, because the truth is like you don't know where you should be because you haven't been there. It's like hindsight's 20/20, but like foresight isn't. Like you don't know where you're gonna go. You don't know exactly the details of what you need to do to get to where you are. It's like you're kind of guiding a ship through unknown waters, and you can kind of see on a map and with the area of where the sun's at and the moon's at, and you can navigate the general direction of where you're going, but like you don't know if there's like sharks in the water. You don't know like if there's going to be a little island from you to that place. Like there could be stuff that you don't see, and don't be afraid to explore the different options along the way and see what there is for you, because it could be an opportunity for growth. It's all about how you look at it,
So you're saying like it seems like people might be upset that they're not on the path that they thought they would be?
Yeah, I think that like I think we talked about this before, where like people that are unhappy is when they compare their life as it is now to what they thought it should be, and it doesn't match up. And I think like one of the keys to that is being open-minded to the fact that it is different, but you can't really compare it to what you thought it ought to be because you don't really know. You have an idea of where you want to be and what you want to do, but it's like just the fine details is like what I'm kind of saying. Like, don't worry about the fine details. Like, you're not going to know. There's no way to predict the future, so you're not going to know what that is. And just look at things with an open-mindedness and an acceptance, and like don't judge yourself. Like if you're trying to sell stuff, say you're starting a business or something, and you're trying to sell stuff, and your products are kind of starting to sell, but it's not really selling to the people you thought that you would be selling to. Maybe you thought like your product is like super high end and you want to sell it to people in high end communities and like super rich people, and you want it inside of celebrities' homes and all this, but it turns out that at the moment you're selling it to normal people like at a swap meet, or just normal people just wherever. And it's just like slightly different. And it's like, don't beat yourself up over that. You're starting a business. You're starting off small. Like most likely you're not just going to make a leap to selling it to Leonardo DiCaprio. Like he's going to like feature your furniture. Like he has no idea who you are. And so just don't just take advantage of the situation that you're in, That's a good thing. You're starting to sell stuff. You're moving stuff, A year ago you weren't selling anything. Now you're selling it to people. Once the brand builds up, and it's just kind of like an example of it, but it's like look at everything with like kind of, I don't know, look at it in a good way. Like, okay, how can I turn this into like a positive thing? Like, it's different, but it's good. I'm still selling stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still making money. I'm not making as much money as I thought I would. Okay, well, that's okay. Well, what do I need to do? I need to sell more stuff. Okay, I need to make more products. I need to make the products better so that more people want to buy them. And when they do, they deliver on the promise that it's a good quality item. People want to buy it. And they'll spread word of mouth, you know. Everybody, all of us have had an experience with a product, I'm sure, where it was so good that you couldn't help but share it with everybody. Like whether it's a food experience that you had at a restaurant or like some new shoes that you bought and they're like super comfy. And it's like people love talking about things that like feel good or like make them happy. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, like I just went to this Italian restaurant and they had like the best surf and turf like I've ever had. Like they had like a fillet and it was like so juicy and it was amazing. And it's like the next 5 to 10 people that you like bump into or like talk to or your family or whoever it is, like you're going to be telling them about how awesome this dinner was that you had. Or, you know, same thing like with the shoes. Like, oh yeah, like you like my new shoes? I got new shoes. Like they're the most comfy shoes I've ever had. So it's like if you can just deliver on like extreme quality, like the rest will come.
It was interesting that you said that. You said that your clients or something may not be what you thought they were. I heard a story recently. I'm gonna screw it up because I can't remember the brand name, but it was super fine wine. I don't know if it was Alizé, might have been. Was that even a wine, or is that like a?
I think that's like a other fancy liqueur or something.
Well, forgive me for that. I don't remember what the name was, but the story went basically that, this fine wine company made these wines, and it started gaining popularity in like the hip hop and rap scene, so much that it was starting to be in their songs and stuff like that. And these people, their fans would, start buying it, and sales were great. They were making like more money than they thought they would, but they're like, no, we are a fine wine company. And they made some comments or something online. Yeah, basically, they weren't happy with the money that they were getting because it's not what they thought that they were going to be.
Yeah.
And they made comments, and it upset people. And man, I wish I remembered the story better because it was actually really good. That somebody, I don't know, somebody backlashed about their bad attitude or something like that, and they didn't put it in any songs after that, and it fell off the face of the earth. And I think that company's gone now. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's funny. I never heard that story, but I haven't heard of Alizé in a long time since you said that. It's been years.
I feel like that might be it. I'm going to have to look it up when we're done here. But, it was just fascinating that they had their road to success set, and they were not willing to change it.
Yep,
and it destroyed them.
Sorry, Alizé, if that wasn't you. And
yeah, no kidding.
We're just like beating you up. Spreading false information.
But there's got to be a fine line there, though, right?
Yeah,
or is there? I mean, it can't all be about the money. Because, I mean, if they had principles, I guess there's nothing wrong with principles, But make sure it's kind of weird that,
but make sure
you're not good enough for us.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yes, have your standards in certain areas, but make sure that your standards aren't making you an asshole. Like, make sure that you're open-minded to, like, your ideas and to other people's ideas, and don't let your stubbornness, like, drive you out of success because you were so hard-headed, and then, years later, like, you're going to regret it because it's like, wow, that was really dumb and closed-minded of me to be like that. It's like if you, like you said, if you were like, oh, like, yeah, like I do air suspension for mini trucks, and then like somebody came along with like a Lexus and they're like, oh, like, can you bag mine? And you're like, no, I will not. Like, mini trucks only. And you're like, I won't do that, like, whatever. And you were like super close-minded, and they're like, okay. And then like mini truck scene kind of died out, and then those people were getting their suspension done somewhere else. And you're like, wow, like, why didn't I, like, open up a little bit more and, like, do those things? Because I would have been successful.
The interesting thing is a lot of that stuff seems to be a lot easier as well.
Yeah.
Takes less time, less challenging, pays more. So that's the stuff you got to open your mind to.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, look for a second.
Yeah,
I mean, this is not what you had planned, but
it's okay.
yeah, it's good.
As long
this
as
is
you,
a good thing.
Yeah, as long as you don't like hate doing it. It's like I'm still doing similar things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing it. It's like kind of like from automotive customation to like making furniture, like we talk about. Like, it's like I had never planned on making furniture. It's like, but still kind of doing the same thing. I'm still cutting and welding metal.
Yeah.
I'm still, I might be like incorporating like wood into some things, but it's like you're using the same tools. You're doing the same things. A lot of the techniques are the same for like stuff that you're doing, but it's just applied to a different category, and it's like a much, I don't want to say it's easier, but it's like a much more, I don't know, it's just different, but it seems it's easier to make money in that field in a certain way. Like, it's easier in some ways. Like, you can create a stockpile of furniture, and then you can have, like, if you have like a store, and then you can sell it. Whereas like working on people's custom vehicles, they have to bring the vehicle to you.
Mm-hmm.
And like you have to have the vehicle in order to work on it.
Right. And deadlines are nuts. I mean, imagine furniture very well. First of all, I think we share the fact that it's probably just the creative aspect, making something that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
And it was in our minds, and now it's there, and now we can touch it. At least for me, that's a huge motivating part. But yeah, like when I have a car, I tell them how long I think it's going to be. It always takes longer than it's going to be, and it's really stressful, and problems come up, and I don't see that happening in furniture.
Yeah.
I don't, especially if it's something that you've already made in the past. Mm-hmm. That's the one downside to cars is it's kind of not at the same time. It's exciting, but it's always new. Yeah. So every time it's a challenge, and that part is fun. But when it comes down to deadlines and stressing out, it's like, hey, man, how's it going? Am I going to get my car back soon? It's like, yeah, real soon. But I imagine if we make custom furniture, we're going to have to deal with the same kind of deadline kind of thing. But it just doesn't seem like it'll be as stressful to me.
Yeah, it's like, and there's like a good possibility with working on people's vehicles. There's always the possibility that something goes wrong and you like mess something up on the rest of the car or something. You know what I mean? And it's like a big liability. Also, when you're working with vehicles, there's the whole like safety liability factor. That's like another like stressor. You build this person's suspension from scratch, and then it's like, what were to happen if they got into a car accident, and then you have to question, was it something that malfunctioned on something that you did? It's like the chances of that happening with a couch in somebody's living room is pretty rare. Like,
no kidding.
They're not driving their couch down the freeway. So that for me is like a big thing too. I'm big on simplicity, as you know.
I do know.
And so like that, I like simplicity in like all aspects of my life. So the less stressors, the better. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm definitely on this journey to success. But I feel like we oftentimes, another thing I think we should talk about, like we often see success as a destination, but like it's not. It's kind of like that whole thing with like life isn't a destination. It's like about the journey. It's like success is similar. You kind of hit these like landmark moments where you feel like, oh, like I've achieved success, like you've come up, but it's like, it's kind of like never ending. It's not like, okay, like, well, I'm here, like, all right, time to pack my shit away and I'm just gonna meditate for the next 30 years of my life.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting. But yeah, like on this journey to or through success, I'm definitely in a lot of different places in my life than I've ever thought that I would be or saw myself. Like, it's interesting. like so much changes. You know, you grow when you're trying to achieve anything. Forces you to grow and adapt. You know, to become more efficient at the thing you're trying to do. Just because we're humans, we are made to adapt and evolve and overcome. It's what made us survive for all these years. And it's
for some reason people don't want to, though.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're very like, resistant. Yeah,
bound, I guess.
Well, that's like another like survival thing, though, and like that kind of, I don't know what you would call it, but like primal needs and like primal survival instincts like interest me a lot because we think that because we're like so smart and technologically advanced that like we are no longer controlled by our primal needs, but
right.
It's like we couldn't be like further from the truth. Like we have thousands or millions of years, whatever, of these instincts and desires and needs that have evolved into us that don't just go away because we got an iPhone. Like like we think that we're like above it, like above the natural world, and it's like we're not. Like it's interesting though how the technology goes hand in hand with that. Like it has evolved because of our primal needs, but it's also like kind of, I don't know, it's weird, it's hard to explain, but like it's like Instagram. You know, you would think, okay, like Instagram and Facebook, that's so far from like primal needs. And it's like, but it's not. It's like, why do we like those things? Why are we so addicted to those things? Because anytime you get a like or somebody comments or responds, you're getting like a hit of dopamine or serotonin or whatever it is, that like, because of it's like an acceptance thing.
Right.
And it goes all the way back to being tribal and somebody accepting you like into the group. And it's like, it's that same exact need, but it's met way down the line here by this little piece of technology. And it seems weird because it's digital and it's like not like a real thing. It's like, but to our bodies, to our physiology, it is real. And that's why it's so hard to put it down, to get off of this thing. Oh, I just gotta check my feed. I gotta see, oh, how many likes did I get on this picture? It's because it's feeding that. And that goes all the way back to like the primal needs. And so it's interesting how it pairs hand in hand. Like we are still this like animal that has all these simple needs, but it's like how we're meeting them. It's like with the sugar that's in everything, you know, they say that sugar was like a source of like quick energy, you know, when we were out and about and we were hunting and gathering, you know, it took a lot of calorie expenditure to go and hunt and get an animal. But if we could find a piece of fruit, you know, and we could eat it, we could get a quick little boost of energy to keep moving on about our day. And so there's all these reward systems in our bodies to tell us how good it is when that happens, because it wants you to find it because it's easier. And then you can have energy to keep going on hunting or building or doing whatever you're doing. And so now where food is so accessible, we have all this sugar and everything, and our bodies are like, yeah, we need that. Okay, give me that. Okay, oh yeah, that's good. Good. We need more of that. Give me that. But it's too accessible now, so we're like overriding all this stuff and sending it into freaking hyperdrive, and we got diabetes. But it's like we have to be able to use our brain and know why things are the way that they are. You know, it's not just this, lack of self-control. It's like, no, like our body is telling us that we need that. It's like a survival thing that's in us.
Right.
But man,
people can't really grasp that. Like the whole phone thing being addiction, it's kind of different because like people think addiction is like a certain substance like alcohol or whatever, or it could be food for that matter, and cigarettes, you know, your mind automatically goes to, yeah, you know what, I need nicotine or I need alcohol, you know, it's in my body so much that that's what's causing the addiction.
It's like a physical thing that you put into your body.
Exactly. But phones are the exactly same thing, like you said, the whole serotonin and
dopamine or whatever.
Yep, those are very, very similar things. Your brain releases it when you get these these certain moments that, they make you happy, and
Yeah, that's the
whatever,
the
and
reward system.
it pumps it into your blood, and that is what you actually get addicted to. It's not that you're actually addicted to the phone, or who knows, maybe your muscle memory in your thumb. We were talking about at work a little while ago how we check our Instagram and get up to date on our feed, and then we put it in our pocket, and then a couple seconds later we grab our phones. Like, what the fuck? What am I doing?
I already looked at it. I know there's nothing here for me. You're like, come right back.
It's adaptation. Back to that again, because we keep skewing. I heard another story about, it was very similar. I think it was Barnes & Noble, or what was Barnes & Noble's competition?
Oh, that other bookstore.
Exactly, it was another bookstore. It was that one that basically the same thing as the whole Alizé thing was, they were trying to hold on to the brick and mortar bookstore for so long, and that it was principal for them. And now in the age of everything going to computers, everything is digitized, everything is accessible quick. Online, you just get on your phone or your computer and you can have it. And they're like, no, we don't want that. It's like, we want, to maintain this. People have a love of libraries and, going to the bookstore and actually having a book that you can hold in your hands and all that. They're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone because they're not willing to
adapt,
to move on. Yeah. Walmart, for example, is one of the people, that do. It's like they could have, they still have their brick and mortar stores, but they learned a lot of this stuff is online nowadays. So
yeah, they have online. They have pickup locations now. They tore out half the parking lot and put in these covered parking spots where they bring your groceries out to you. It's like,
it's nuts.
Yeah, it's like maybe maybe Walmart isn't the best example because they are like a super corporation, and we're not saying that that's the best way, but
this bookstore that I'm talking about, I wish I could remember what it was. It's not Barnes & Noble, but they were a major chain too.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously nothing like Walmart, but
something with an N, I feel like, or something. H? I can't remember.
Maybe. Yeah.
People are probably listening, going crazy. Like, I know what it is. I know. I always have those moments. I'll be listening to Joe Rogan, and they'll be like, damn, what was that movie called? And they're talking about it, and they're like, yeah, it had this guy in it. And I'm like, I know what it is. It's like, but you can't say anything because you get so lost, you feel like you're there with them. And then you're like, oh, wait, I'm not. I'm just listening to a video with them. And then they finally figure it out, and you're like, yes, finally. Jeez. Man.
So Walmart's a good example of how to adapt properly.
Yeah, and McDonald's. Although, yes, these corporations seem to only care about success and money and not about the person, you can take, advice or tips from how they market. They are wizards. You have to give them credit. They are absolute wizards when it comes to marketing, sales, how they show you things, how they set up the stores, how the commercials are, everything. They are geniuses. They have teams of people that just sit around brainstorming how to better market to their target audience or people who are going to be buying from them. And it's very interesting. I saw I think it was a video a long time ago talking about how gas stations are set up, perfectly set up to make you want to buy more things than you came in there for, from where they put the drinks. A lot of times when people stop at the gas station and they're getting gas, I'm just going to go in and grab a drink real quick. Okay, well, where are the drinks? The drinks are all the way in the back. They know that most of the people that are going to go in there just want to get a drink. So they put them all the way in the back. So you have to walk past all of these snacks and everything. You get there, and the way that the doors open up, they're formulated in a way to steer you. They steer the traffic in a certain way to walk around because they know 9 out of 10 times, if somebody opens the door to the right, when they close it, they're going to continue off to the left because of just how the natural body wants to move. and they know that they'll lead you around. Okay, well, what do they have here? Okay, a case of soda blocking this aisle, so you can't go straight down that aisle. You have to go around it, around this way. Okay, well, what's over here? Bags of chips and Snickers bars. Okay, well, that looks delicious while I'm here. I already got a soda. I might as well grab this. And then if you haven't already had enough beat down from the sodas and the snacks and the peace tea, and then you get to the register, oh man, they got these I love this gum, this pack of gum right here next to the thing. Oh, don't forget your Reese's that you didn't see back there in the candy aisle. Don't worry, we got some more for you right up here. You know, it's like everything is, it's like, wow, that's insane. And like every time I go into a gas station now, like I can't help but like think about and it's like you notice it.
I'm gonna have to start paying attention because that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pure genius, and it's something that nobody would ever, like a normal person would never think about. They just walk in and they just do this and they walk out, but it's like
these people are fucking puppets and they have no idea.
Yeah, dude, we're just like sheep just following along, and people are over here freaking controlling us just with the way that a door closes. It's like, wow, we are such simple beings.
Man.
The road to success is not what you think it is. It's just like this podcast. We're just dragging them all over the desert here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Taking them out into deep water and leaving them talking about 7-Elevens and...
Let's go back to adaptation one more time. Alan Watts once said, I'm going to make it sound like a quote, but I don't remember exactly how he quoted it. But be like water. Water will just move freely in whatever direction it pleases. And if it comes across an obstacle, like a mountain or something, it doesn't stop and wonder what to do or, stress out about it. It rises and it moves off in another direction until it comes to another obstacle. It stops, it rises, and it moves on in another direction. So be like water.
Rise to the occasion.
Indeed.
Who is Alan Watts again? I've heard the name a bunch, but I don't know.
He's I don't know if philosopher is the right word, but he was definitely a speaker. Basically like us, but a few levels, higher.
It's funny.
But in the old days, didn't have nearly as good audio quality as we have.
True. When was he around?
70s.
Oh.
Possibly 60s.
When you said like, I thought you were going to say like the 1700s or something.
No.
So just like a little while ago. Is he still alive?
I don't think so, no. Yeah.
Interesting.
I sounded all smart, throwing names like Alan Watts. Now you're asking me this stuff. Makes me realize I really have no idea who he is.
He's probably listening to this podcast like, I'm not dead, you assholes. What's wrong with you guys?
He was old back in the day when the audio recordings were still like scratchy. It almost sounded like it was played off of a record.
Got that, yeah, crackly.
So, yeah. But it's probably good to point out, too, that water can move houses and boulders.
Yeah, it can be powerful as shit. Just because it chooses to go around sometimes doesn't mean when there's enough force behind it that it will just go through everything. Water doesn't just go around mountains, it carves mountains. It carves the Grand Canyon. Force to reckon with.
Deep.
Yeah. Man. Path to success. What else? So we tell these people, Don't judge yourself. That's one thing that Gary Vee talks about a lot. He says, like, people ask me, like what happens when you or like you try to do something and like the business fails or you try to you decide you've been working too much and it's time to spend some time with your family. He's like, I just make the decision and I just do it. He's like, I don't judge myself. I don't spend time trying to have sympathy for myself or thinking that I'm a bad person. He's like, I'm just human. Mm-hmm. He's like, so why judge myself? He's like, I just see it and then I make the change. He's like, I don't have the time to spare for feeling bad about it. He's like, there's no point. It's not going to do any good for you. It's just going to slow down the rate of getting back on the right path. He's like, you just have to do it. And like, same with, I think he said like similar things with kind of things not turning out the way that you thought they would. He's like, it's life, you know? You don't need to judge yourself about it. You just need to take steps to do what's next. And I think that's really good, because I've heard other people, nutritionists and stuff, talk about this. Like when you're trying to eat better and you like fuck up and you have a bad day and you ate 5 Krispy Kreme donuts and you want to just feel sorry for yourself and just give up and just go back to eating Taco Bell every night. And it's like, you don't need to do that. You can just say, look, yeah, I'm fucking human and I love donuts and they were there and I ate some. You know, shit happens. But it's time to keep moving on. Can't sit here and cry for myself and say, well, I'm just fat and I'm just going to be fat forever, so I might as well just go home and get another box of donuts and have pizza tomorrow and some McDonald's. It's like, you don't need to. You don't need to feel bad for yourself. You don't need to do all that. You just make the decision that the next time you're just going to make a different choice.
4 donuts.
Yes, exactly.
This is quite different from your modesty is for cowards thing.
Moderation.
Eat the whole...
not modesty.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant.
Moderation.
Eat the whole box of donuts. Don't just stop at 5.
Cameron Haynes, moderation is for cowards. Yeah. But I think like his moderation is on other things, like should I run 2 miles or 200? I better do 200. Like he just has a completely different mind. That dude's an athletic freak. He just has the mindset of a rock and just goes.
I think that's the unfortunate thing too, is maybe I shouldn't say that. Fuck it. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
Say it. Preach it.
I think some people naturally just don't have the mindset that they're gonna need in order to get anywhere. Because you've got people like Gary Vee who are, a complete, I don't know, as far as you can go in the way of success, and it's like his mind is so focused on the shit that he's doing, and that kind of stuff is the most important to him. But then you got the people that, which is completely fine, but they don't really have any loves, hobbies, interests, stuff that moves them forward. And I don't know if that's stuff that you can really change.
I think a lot of it is, but like the other day Joe Rogan had this guy Ross Edgley on the podcast who just swam around Great Britain. It was like over 2,000 miles of swimming. Took him almost 6 months. Every day he was in the water for 12 hours swimming. 6 hours on, 6 hours off, and then 6 hours on and 6 hours off again. So every 6 hours he was in the water for 6 hours swimming nonstop. And they were talking about like mindset and people being weak and stuff like that. And Joe asked him if he thought that having a strong mindset was something that you're born with or something that you can get. And he said that he thought that it was both. There's people that are kind of naturally a little bit more kind of headstrong and mentally tough, but there's always room for improvement. So even if you aren't that person, even if you didn't come out with the freaking calloused mind of a Navy SEAL, like, you can become better than what you are. Like, there's always improvement, and it's not just you're either born with it or you're not, So I agree that there are people that are kind of more naturally inclined, whatever their genetic makeup, that causes them to think certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are people that it's a lot harder for them. I've met people that, like, you would see them like dudes that were like big dudes and could like smash somebody, but they were so mentally weak inside their own head that like they couldn't do anything because like your mind is so powerful. And it's like dude, like, you don't understand, like, you have physical capabilities, like, you just aren't putting your mind to it, like. And then I've seen people that were tiny dudes, you know, when I wrestled, and seeing, you know, there's professional fighters that are super small dudes, but it's like, dude, they're like a furious little badger. It's like, you, dude, like, if I was freaking 6'4" and like 300 pounds, like, these dudes would still scare me, because like they have this mindset like they're gonna die, or like they're gonna freaking hurt you, like, and it's like insane, like how impressive like that is, just having like a crazy mindset. It's the whole, like, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. And it's like, that's just what it comes down to. It's just like the mental capability to have that.
That's the thing, though. That's what I'm getting at, is it's not, there's no mystery that mindset is got to be one of the most important things, you know, for anything that you're going to do. But is that mindset something that you can change? And I'm sure for certain people it can be, you know, like the whole rock bottom thing with alcoholics and whatever, you know, that people aren't going to change unless something extreme happens.
Yeah.
So just on a more positive sense, you know, just you know, getting a different mindset, still something significant has to happen to make you want to change, because it's just not going to change on its own. So that's basically what I'm getting at. Is that something that you can change? And I feel like mindset is learned, you know, from the start anyways. So I feel like you've got to be able to learn it. But I mean, when you're born, we're all exactly the same. I mean, maybe we might have some hardwired, you know, talents here and there. I don't know if that's even true, maybe. But as you're, you know, growing up and developing and stuff, this is where your mind and your mindset is gonna, you know, be formed. But can you change that once it's set?
It's formed? I think that you can, but I think that the thing is that it's extremely difficult.
Uh-huh.
And I think it might be easier for some and harder for some, but I think overall it's a very hard thing to do, to change your mindset and convince yourself that you want to do something that your body doesn't want to do, you know?
Right.
Or, you know, a lot of times when mindset is talked about, it's about doing something physical. Right. And I think that's one of the easiest ways to kind of see it at work. But it goes for other things too, you know, doing stuff that isn't physical. It just might be something that you don't want to do, you don't feel like doing, you know. Oh, like I need to, you know, pay the bills today by 4:00, and it's like, oh, like I really don't want to, like I gotta go online and do all this, or like, oh, I need to, you know, clean up the yard, or I need to take out the trash, and it's like, or do the dishes. It's like, just for everything, you know, there's that, like, the discipline factor of, like, are you just going to get up and do it, or are you, when you wake up in the morning, do you hit snooze 7 times, or when the alarm goes off, do you just get out of bed? And it's like, I've gotten so bad with that. It's like, man, like, I have moments in my life where I have, like, extreme discipline, and it's like, alarm goes off, boom, I'm up. Okay, get in the shower. Okay, we're turning the shower to cold now, because cold things that are difficult for the body make a strong mind, you know. And I honestly think that like Wim Hof is like onto some things, man. That dude is a wild man. For those that don't know who Wim Hof is, he's this older gentleman. Forget where he's from. He's from another country, but he holds like a ton of world records for different cold things. Like, he'll go into an ice bath for like hours, and his core temperature will have gone up by the end of it. And like, he has these breathing techniques that he does, and everything is like backed by science. He's not just like some woo-woo guy that's like making stuff up as a magician. Like, he's been tested by scientists, and the things that he talks about are stuff that's feasible for everybody. He doesn't say like, yes, like I am a special human and this is why I can do this. He's like, no, it's not like that at all. He's like, it's just science. He's like, I do these breathing techniques, oxygenates the blood, whatever he talks about it doing, and then, you know, I become comfortable in the cold. And he's like hiked at Mount Everest with shorts and no shirt on. Like, he's a wild man, but he's a super big fan of being in the cold. And one of these like little challenges that he's had before, and I've done it, is taking cold showers. He's like, it's a simple way, everybody can do it. You don't have to be in the Arctic where you need to go swimming with the polar bear club underneath the ice or anything like that. He's like, all you have to do is just turn your shower to cold. He's like, you're gonna want to get out. You're gonna start breathing heavy. Your body's gonna start panicking because it's super cold. He's like, but if you do it and you stay in the cold and you get your breathing under control and you slow it down and you start breathing, you will adapt to the cold. You will feel more comfortable. You'll slow your heart rate back down after it races up because you just shocked it.
Mm-hmm.
And doing that, I will tell you, it is like a mind fuck. You get into the shower and you put your hand on that thing, and it's in the morning and you know it's cold out and you're already cold and you're trying to warm up in the shower and the water's nice and hot and you already showered and washed up, and you have your hand on that handle and you're about to turn it to cold. It is insane. You can physically feel your body saying, don't do this. What are you doing? Do not do this. Like, your body does not want that to go to cold. It is so weird. Everybody should freaking try this. See how difficult it is. Because it's like, yeah, like everybody can say, oh yeah, like I turn the water to cold and it's like, and you get out. But no, you just stand in it. You turn it to cold. You put your head under the water and you stand in that cold shower water, especially in the winter when that water coming out of the ground is real cold. Oh my God, it is crazy. But you do that 5 days in a row, and it's insane how for the rest of your day, the decisions that you make become easier. Like, because you did this one thing that's very difficult and your body doesn't want you to do, but your mind told you to do it anyways. Like, just overcoming something as simple as that, like, increases your mental strength. And I think doing stuff like that, doing hard things that you don't want to do, is how you build up that mental toughness.
Mm-hmm.
Jocko Willink has that book, Discipline Equals Freedom, and it's basically all about that. Like, that dude is just the master of just doing shit that he doesn't want to do. And like, you would think like that would be like counterintuitive. Like, if you just did shit that you didn't want to do, like, you would just be miserable. You wouldn't be happy. It's like, but it's not. It's like, you're doing stuff that you don't want to do because it's difficult or because it's uncomfortable. But after you do it, you realize that you enjoyed it, or like that you feel happier about it. It's like when you don't really like running, but you go on like a nice mile-long run or whatever, and you get that jogger's high, and when you're done, you feel good. Your body's moving, your blood's pumping, you go to the gym, whatever it is that you don't like to do, and then you go and do it. It's like there's these things where it's like the hindsight of it, you're like, wow, like I should do this shit all of the time. Why don't I do it? Mm-hmm. It's like, it's because it's difficult. So all those mechanisms in your body saying don't do it are trying to keep you safe and comfortable. And it's like our world is too comfortable for us, and it makes us mentally weak.
Comfort is dangerous. I have not been able to do the shower thing yet.
Have you like thought about it or like tried?
Oh yeah, I think about it all the time.
Uh-huh.
I don't seem to get the same effect though, just thinking about it. But I'll tell you what, right now I'm like, it's winter. I'm not doing this until the summer, at least the first time, because I don't know. I'm sure you've noticed at work too. We wash our hands all the time, and in the summer, still, like right now,
yeah.
Because right now
Miguel always comes in and turns it to the like middle, and I'm like, no, we need the shit cold.
We're at the end of November right now, and it's fucking cold. And the thing is that the groundwater gets so much more cold. Yeah. So like in the summer, At work, I always wash my hands in cold water, but it's not that cold because it's summer and the groundwater is a little warmer, so it's definitely cold, and I don't want hot water on my hands when I'm cold.
It's almost not even groundwater because of like where our water heater is. It's up in the ceiling, so it's it's up. The pipes are exposed, so I think when it's coming straight from the ground, the ground stays more of a steady temperature. When the pipes are like out, it's more like ambient temperature. And when it's freaking 40 degrees outside, you're like, shit's cold.
Well, maybe I'll tell you what, when I try it, even if I do try it in the winter, I can guarantee you right now, I don't have the power. I don't have the power of my mind right now to keep it cold because, man.
The best thing is to do it when nobody's home or nobody's home that you're going to disturb.
Why? Because you're going to scream?
Just scream because it makes you feel better at first. Like you can just scream like a little girl.
Yeah.
And just, oh, fuck! God damn it! And just like flex and like tighten all your muscles up and just like fight it, but then just eventually just give, like, after you get over that initial shock of it, just let go and just, and it's crazy once you force yourself to breathe slower and get control of it, it changes instantly, and you will feel it's still cold and it's still kind of miserable, but it's different. Your mind is kind of at ease and you stop freaking yourself out so much, and it becomes a little bit more bearable.
I would say we've all experienced that. Just getting into the pool. Is it really any different than that?
No, exactly.
You get in, you can torture yourself by, getting in a little bit more, It starts going up over your belly button, and you're like,
into the armpits.
But if you just jump in, man, it's a crazy shock, and there's no being quiet about it either, because there's definitely that feeling, but it goes away. I think I told you a while ago that probably the coldest I've ever been was in a lake in Colorado, and it was around November, and that was nuts. Went with a bunch of friends, and I didn't want to pussy out and be the only one that didn't get in. That was intense. I have no idea. There wasn't any ice on the water, but it was November in Colorado, so I mean the water was not, comfy.
Yeah.
But it was kind of the same thing. It was, you jump in, it was nuts, it was crazy, but then you started, playing around with your friends and stuff like that, and your toes are kind of going numb, but yeah, you got used to it real fast, and it wasn't, the shock was gone.
Yeah. It's just like swimming in the ocean. The ocean's always cold.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so get yourself some cold water. Try that out. Don't beat yourself up if the path isn't exactly what you think it should be. Enjoy where you're at, see the good things, and keep focused on the goals ahead of you. And don't stress so much about how you're getting there.
Adapt.
Adapt to it. Adapt as it comes, because it's going to be different. We haven't done it yet, so you're not going to know exactly. And, I would say get out there and crush your dreams and do stuff. Don't worry about it so much. Well, that it?
Yeah.
All right.
See you next time.
See you guys next time.